You're listening to DraftKings Network.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Most Valuable Promotions and Netflix are hosting a blockbuster triple headliner Saturday, May 16th. Ronda Rousey returns to face fellow women's MMA pioneer Gina Carano in the main event. Plus co-mains Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry. And the best heavyweight in the world, Francis Ngannou versus Felipe Lins. Watch Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano, live only on Netflix. Saturday, May 16th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time.
All new drinks are now at McDonald's. With refreshers like the Strawberry Watermelon Refresher and the Mango Pineapple Refresher with popping boba. To crafted sodas like the Sprite Berry Blast with berry flavors and cold foam. Who knew ice cold drinks could be so fire? Try them all now at McDonald's.
Refreshers contain caffeine. Copyright 2026, The Coca-Cola Company. Sprite is a registered trademark of The Coca-Cola Company.
Your summer starts now with Memorial Day deals at the Home Depot. It's time to fire up summer cookouts with the Next Grill 4-burner gas grill on special buy for only $199. And entertain all season with the Hampton Bay West Grove 7-piece outdoor dining set for only $499. This Memorial Day, get low prices guaranteed at the Home Depot. While supplies last, price and valid May 14th through May 27th. U.S. only, exclusions apply. See homedepot.com/price match for details.
Take a minute or anything?
I don't need to take a minute. We've started already.
Okay, great.
Who's going to make this weird? Am I going to make this weird
No,
or you're going to
it's
make
one or the
this
other.
weird? He's Ari Shaffir. You probably know him for over 15 years of allowing comics to tell their stories in a way that is really fun. And the New York Times says he's got the best, or one of the best comic specials going right now. The name of it is, and I imagine
You're
you spent
allowed. I'll give you permission.
a lot of time on it. Jew is the name of it, and it's being watched a lot. It's particularly timely. And thank you for joining us, by the way.
Thanks for having me.
How is it going over the special? How did you feel about doing it? And how did you come about naming it? Because it is very simply perfect, and I'm surprised it hadn't been taken before.
Yeah, Jew. Well, they make you in these specials pay by the letter. So I decided to cut it down and save myself some cash because I paid for it myself. No, because that's what it was. I had other titles like Heretic or something like that, or like, but yeah, it's just Jew. This is all about, it's me. It's about I grew up Orthodox Jewish, which is like the Frisbee ones. And yeah, it's all about just growing up like that, but also like filthy. Everyone from the Jewish community is like sort of seen it, but they were like, we're watching it, but we're worried. And then they're like, no, it's actually really like respectful. It's far too filthy, but yeah, I don't know why you just say fuck so much when you talk about the Bible, but okay.
It also games the algorithm, right? It gets a whole lot of people in these particular times to find you.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't do it for this Times. Times came up around me. I saw Kanye West last night. For real. He was playing his new album at the Comedy Store. It was wild.
How does that happen?
He's with Dave Chappelle. And Dave Chappelle's like, let's go to the Comedy Store. And then he's like sticking his phone in the aux and playing his new song. I was like, this is nutty.
Well, you started at the Comedy Store. We'll get to your special in a second. You started at 15 years old, 16 years old answering. When did you start answering phones?
24, 25, but right out of college. Right at the University of Maryland. Terps, practice player.
Actually, that would be weird if it was 15 or 16 years old, given that it'd be illegal for you to be in there in a drinking establishment.
No, dude, you're allowed to perform. When I was a door guy there were people under 21, and I'd have to escort them off stage and out when they were done. Like, as soon as they were off, I'm like, let's go, out. Some of my friends, too, they started at 19, and I was like, we got to go. Yeah, the place ruled. It was the best. It was where it became, like, kind of a man. We were all, like, crazy idiots. And then the owner was just becoming kind of senile, so she stopped coming, and nobody was running the place. I mean, imagine, you were at ESPN or no?
I don't know if I was then. Back then, I have been at ESPN, yes, many years ago.
But imagine if, like, you're an employee there and then just there's no boss. And then you guys would all just do what the fuck you wanted. I mean, there would be, like, definitely full games. I mean, you'd have John Boy Studios, really. That's what you'd have. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it was. We're running casinos in the back and just, like, Everyone's having sex everywhere. It was just a wild time. Yeah, and then the people that weren't, like the young guys, would like try to spy on the older guys having sex, and like peer our head over the bathroom stall to see if we can get a look.
Well, how hard was it for you to even come out here, to get out here and start chasing the dream?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, okay, so there's some like weirdo jobs. You know, you have one. I call them like outside the norm jobs. HR is not a weirdo job, but yeah, writer. Comedy, you have to make it like kind of a leap, right? You have to be like, yeah, I want to do this other thing. But also, like, it wasn't like I had a good job. I just had prospects.
But it's unsafe, and I don't know how much support you're going to get.
Yeah, my parents were way against it. You know, they're like, you can't. It's not really a job you can do. It seems weird now because comedy's so big that it does seem like a job you can do. But back then, it was like you had Ray Romano. And then like nobody, you know, and then the next best guy was making like 40 grand a year. So yeah, it was just seemed silly, but I don't know. I didn't want to work under like halogen lights in an office. That seemed like more dangerous to me.
It is.
Yeah. And it was like, I figured I'd come out here and fail, but at least I could like, if I had like 3 kids and a mortgage and some fucking neighbor that hates me, at least I could be like, well, I tried.
Oh, so you didn't have grandiose dreams that you thought you were going to conquer.
No, I was like, seemed fun to do stand-up. I did one open mic in Northern Virginia, and then like, and that was it. I had no reason to tell anybody like I couldn't do this. I couldn't. I have no training. But I don't know. It seemed fun, and then it came and started, and I just fell in love with it.
Well, how old were you?
25.
So the open mic in Northern Virginia.
That was probably 23, 24. I started college late because I went to seminary, and that's what the special's about, Jew. It's a lot of those days, but
it's hard to imagine you.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine you, though, as profoundly religious.
Okay.
No, visually you can pull it off.
Okay.
Visually, I think you can do it. But you, as profoundly religious, given both your material and the stuff you've been talking about for 15 years, I can't imagine you leading others spiritually to God.
Well, we're also like, okay, Jews are like a funny people, you know, like we have a sense of humor. So even as religious as we all were, we were still cracking jokes, but just about other things, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't as filthy.
No, but when you talk about seminary, like this requires a devotion.
Yeah.
Take me through the path of how it is you get to there and how you break off from that.
Okay. Damn, I thought we were talking about sports. This is wildly different.
So no one told you this was largely biographical. I probably should have told you that there was no obligation to be funny and it's largely biographical.
I have always an obligation to be funny. I always feel that. And then, all right, sick. It's great to talk to you. We had one dinner once, but like I've been watching your shit for a long time.
Okay, well, it's great to talk to you as well. I'm going to backtrack for everybody here. Okay. Last time I saw you, it was in the back of a restaurant that felt a bit like Goodfellas.
They hated us.
It was a lot of comedians were at dinner, and you, fairly shockingly, had half a beard and half of a haircut. I don't know how long this phase lasted.
It went for about a month. I did it that day, I think, because I was doing a show. I was like, let me just fuck around for the show. And then I was like, I think I was on the way home, and some drunk white lady was like, oh my God, I love that. And I was like, I'm keeping this for a while then. Children, dude, would be like, they'd just point, they'd pull up their mom's skirt, like, mom. And so I'm like, I'm keeping it. Yeah, probably a month. It was so wild. Who'd you say I looked like then? There was some. It wasn't like Nick Foles. You said it was somebody I looked like.
It was brave of you to do it for even a month. It was a terribly bad decision all around.
People would see me from just this side, and they would talk like normal, and then I'd turn. They're like, "What the fuck? What, man?" Or I'd have two people talking both this way, and they couldn't. Neither one could see. They're like, "Oh, he's just shaved," and "Oh, he's just fully haired." Yeah, those people fucking hated us. And Salacuse kept taking pictures, and they were like, "Stop with the pictures." And he's like, "All right," he would just sneak them. And then they were like, "We're going to throw you out." It really was like a Goodfellas place.
I mean, it was strange because you were in the back of the restaurant. You weren't actually in the restaurant. You were, it's a group of comedians, and you thought we were going to talk sports because you for a while did a sports podcast, or were thinking of doing
Punch
Drunk Sports.
Yeah. We didn't have any. Actually, we did a few out of this studio a long time ago, but Yeah, it was just me, Sam Tripoli, and Tebow, and just like saying the stuff we would love if ESPN said. You know, what guys' bulges looked like and who they're fucking and shit like that.
The stuff that you discussed as teenagers, because you guys never have actually grown up.
Yeah. Did you guys ever have, I don't want to flip it, but did you ever have moments during sports analysis where you're like, hey, we got to stop. We're about to start. and then go into what you actually are allowed to
What
talk
I
about.
was able to do later in my career, the televised stuff, is zig because the zag had been established. So I didn't actually have to be as respectful as talking sports guy because there was already the established, okay, there's debate culture. Now I can just make fun of all of it and just sort of weave in and out because I didn't think that was very entertaining, right? Because I love what you guys do. A lot of what we do on South Beach Sessions is talk to the comedians because I like talking to the creators because they view everything as askew. I don't know that that comedians would enjoy the content of ESPN very much. They like the sports perhaps, but not the making of stuff. I imagine you'd be watching this and starting Punch Drunk Sports because you're saying you could do so much more with this. There's so much more space in this playground to fool around in. I'm stunned that more sports things haven't been made that are funny. Like think about in the history of all the content that's been made in sports, what you would regard as, man, I thought that was funny what they tried to do there.
It was just like comical. Like Berman would do like a funnier way to say something early on. Like,
it's a lot of
the Boom Goes the Dynamite stuff was like cool, but not like long form funny.
Yeah, I'm always complaining about sports sort of being a weird cathedral. Like it's way too respectful.
Way too, especially all the athletes now are fans of comedy, so they wouldn't really care. You know, they never would have cared. The LeBron types would have cared because he's fucking a stick in the mud.
I don't know if you've gotten very good at deflecting intimacy the way I have, but you really moved us off the whole story of how it is that we got biographically from you being extremely religious and almost choosing a life of total devotion that probably wouldn't have suited you
into your path as an analyst of sports.
Yeah, you did that nicely.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
I was in Israel, seminary, kind of like could go rabbi or could go like just devout. I mean, and then came back to America, went to Yeshiva University, owners of the longest all-time baseball playoff consecutive losses record that was just snapped, I think at 107. Jews love baseball, but they cannot put motion on a ball. Yeah, and then I got back. I was in Yeshiva University, and I just kind of lost my faith. I was just like, thought about it. I was like, I don't think I believe in God. And then I struggled with it for a while because it's like, you know, the whole life. I mean, it must have been like, not the same, but like, what if you wake up one day, you're like, I think I'm a communist. Right. Then you're like, I can't be here, you know? You're like, I better like either start planting some stuff.
So what was happening, though? Was your upbringing and patterns so rigid that you weren't doing a lot of questioning before that?
Yeah, you're just doing it without thinking about it. You don't really have a chance to look into it. Like my friends asked me, like, was it repressive not being able to eat cheeseburgers because cheese and meat together? And I was like, we never even had it as a possibility. It was like, I don't feel like I'm being held down because I can't fly. I didn't even think about it. We had our own groups. It was fine. On Saturdays and Friday nights, you couldn't use TV. So couldn't see Dukes of Hazzard until it came on reruns. Yeah, you just didn't think twice about it. But then when I looked inward, I was like, oh, and then it opened up like, well, it was like a struggle for like 4, 5, 6 months of like, what does this mean to me? And then how do I tell these people in my life that I'm not this anymore? Between the ones that are super religious still and the ones that are not, that are going to be like, I knew it. Come on, I wish I didn't want that either. It was just like an internal struggle. Talked to a couple friends and they were like trying to like get me back, and I was like, I'm open to it. Talk me into it. But then it just wasn't inside me. I don't know what your faith in God is, but it just wasn't in there.
I mean, I was raised Catholic, but Orthodox Jew is it's a different, like when you are that determined, devoted, rigid, I guess keeping life small, right? Like you're with just your people all the time. Like I don't know that there's much like it. Like Catholicism has its rigidities, but it's not quite this.
No, it's not that. It's just like, right, go to church. But it's not like, watch what you eat. outside of Lent. Yeah, you have to wait 6 hours after meat before you can have pizza.
But this seems particularly ill-suited to just the things that you are in terms of rambunctious and free, and doesn't mean you're not disciplined in many ways.
Yeah.
Your work ethic shows everywhere.
Except for the being on time today. Email sitting in my thing just going, obviously, here's your schedule. We should open it.
You've been lamenting your lateness here
Dude,
by
I'm sorry.
minutes today.
I apologize. I really am feeling bad about it. They call me like, are you almost there? I'm like, where? I mean, thank God it was an 8-minute walk.
So this is you emerging. This is you emerging for a morning in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Haven't even had my mate yet. Yeah, I think I'm probably rebelling, to be honest, or making up for lost time. I was like, I started doing way more drugs than a normal 35, 40-year-old would do. Fun drugs, but obviously I was making up for lost time. Fucking way more than I, should have. Not that it was bad, but it was just like, haven't you worked through this yet? No, I'm just getting started. This is really fun.
Yeah, you're still a child in many ways, right?
Exactly, yeah.
You've just not used any of these muscles.
Yeah. And then you get into the comedy world, and the Comedy Store is such a melting pot of these different backgrounds. You had like people like me, and then people who grew up with like prison life, and then like abusive households, and then like a loving family man, and then like we're all just together, putting all that stuff behind me. Good friends with a Palestinian, as I lived in Israel for years, and we're like, yeah, everybody's an unlikely friend, and we all just loved comedy,
What if you could have the most reliable Wi-Fi at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Just 5 years of fiber-powered Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Powered by fiber. Connected to the premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
This summer, serve up the Cookout Classics, Kraft Mayo and Dressing. Toss green salads with delicious ranch dressing or zesty Italian. Serve smooth, craveably creamy potato salads with mayo. We all know it's not a cookout without Kraft.
How did your upbringing not become a special until this late in life, given how unusual an upbringing it is?
Dude, you should do a podcast. You've got questions. I couldn't handle it. I didn't know how to do it right. I tried in the beginning. Everything came off hateful. So I had to work out my own shit first. Kind of like Los Angeles, actually. I lived here for 12 years. Lived right next to Pink Dot down the street. So I could walk to the Comedy Store. Because I wasn't allowed to park there because I wasn't like a regular yet. And when I left, I started seeing how shitty LA was, the parts that were shitty. How everyone's focused on money over art. You ask somebody how a movie was, and here they tell you the box office. It's like, what? You guys are supposed to be acting and directing, and you're talking about money first, always.
You have a real disdain for acting.
I hate them. They're the worst people in the world. They're so self-absorbed, and they think that you can't see through it. They think they're not being phony. They go, I still talk to normal people, and we're like, normal people don't say normal people. They just say people. What the fuck are you talking about? That was your brag? Ugh. Oh, god damn. If you show up with a beat-up Toyota, they're like, ew. Like, what the fuck? It's a reliable car. Yeah, I do.
Is that why you got out of acting? Did you get away from acting?
I hated the people, and it would get in the way of stand-up sometimes. I book commercials like, I'm like, shit, well, I got a gig. And then when people start coming to see me and not just like a gig I was on, then I'm like, I can't let people down for a callback for something. And then also I did a movie that I was really embarrassed about with Gad, that super hot chick. What's her name? The Israeli one.
You should know.
I hate them all, dude.
You did the movie with
all.
her. I don't know even what you're talking
Fair.
about.
It was the guy from Mad Men, the main dude from Mad Men.
You're gonna.
Ham,
I don't know the movie.
John Hamm, Keeping Up with the Joneses was what it was called, and it was like a spy movie. That super hot Israeli model chick and Galifianakis. And I read the script and I'm like, this seems bad, but Galifianakis and John Hamm, I guess it'll be. And then I got there, I'm like, no, this blows. And then I was embarrassed to be a part of it. And everyone's like, wow, cool. It's Zach Galifianakis. I'm like, it's not cool. He knew it was sucky. They all knew. This blew. What are we doing? Well, yeah. Why are we making something just got greenlit? And then stand-up is just me and a mic, so it's like, it's so free.
I mean, it's just you and your talent. That's it's vulnerable. It's brave. It's something that I actually admire that people choose it. But it seems like a reckless choice. Like it seems like a really hard thing to do successfully.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to throw out sports quotes while a fucking nerd is telling you at the end of a show, like, this is what you got wrong.
Yeah, comedians are always good about saying it's not quite as brave as you think it is because
no, it's brave because you bombed a lot and it sucked. But also, like I saw my friends moving into their adult lives, and I was like, I want to put that on hold as long as possible. So it really was like, let's stay at this festival a little longer before we go back to work on Monday. Mm-hmm. You know, it was just a hard leap. Of like, okay, almost got a job designing the website for Discovery Channel. I would have stayed in DC area if I got that job because it was like somewhat creative and not done this. But then I didn't, so I was like, yeah, I'm out.
So when you're in take me back to your life in Israel.
That's too much. So it was losing my religion, coming to this, starting to talk about it, but I was like, I have too much hatred. And then I had to eventually get over that hatred. Oh, this is what I was going to say. Same as LA. I love LA now. I miss the stuff that I miss about it. Being broke here is a great place to be broke. Those times in my life, it was just anything was possible. Going up on hikes, going to Runyon Canyon, seeing women that you didn't even know could exist outside of a magazine, just casually hiking. The beaches, the burrito, everything was just so fun. Get into ecstasy. It was just like, this is a wild party. And I miss those times. And I'll see people this week and have those times. So the same thing with like the religion. I eventually got back to a place where I'm like, no, this actually was really helpful to my life. Gave me structure. I don't think about it now. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, if you're Catholic, you're probably the same way. If you go into a supermarket and you see a 60-year-old woman behind you, you just naturally, after you, ma'am. You don't say ma'am, but you just do it. You're not thinking this is what I should do. It's just, right? You just do it.
Well, so what was your plan? You didn't have a plan?
Here?
Well, just 6 months you decide I don't believe in God anymore. So what I've been doing for a long time is wasting my time.
So I switched to University of Maryland. There's no reason to go to a split curriculum, religious and math, English stuff. Why waste that money? Became a Terp, and then became a practice player for the University of Maryland women's basketball team.
Oh, did you? Uh-huh. Got your ass kicked.
Yeah, dude. Those bitches.
Yeah, they're good.
Oh, my God. And they use them to, like, cut at you. Mm-hmm. Me and Paige Buchers, we share that in common. Practice players.
You're a guinea pig. That's all. The guys who think they're going to beat the women at college basketball.
Yeah, you go light on them right away because it's a girl, and then they elbow check you to the neck, and you're like, oh, okay. And then we'd start playing hard,
and then you'd start losing.
Yeah, we would go hard though. We would like push them and stuff. They were better than me. I figured it out that where I would have been first off the bench.
Really?
Yeah.
You would have been able to play women's basketball first off the bench, a good sixth
woman. Not now. No, we're talking about then. 21 years old.
You feel like you would have been a good sixth woman.
The women all said it. We all had these discussions. They were like, you're definitely not a starter. Yeah, you're probably first off the bench. And then the girl, Michelle, that was first off the bench, she goes, yeah, you'd probably get it right before me. I begged Coach Weller to put me in one time. I had long hair. I'm like, buddy, I'll paint my nails.
What was Maryland? Was Maryland a 500 team? Was Maryland one of the good ones back then?
The women's team then was like right around last of ranked or first of honorable mention in the AP.
Okay.
So we had a good team. ACC also was a dominant, but we lived in the shadow of the men. But yeah, they would yell at me too if I missed layups. I'm like, gotta win the fucking game, man. Yeah. What the fuck you doing? I'm like, I missed. I wasn't fucking around. So yeah, I went to Maryland for 3 years and then I graduated. And now religion's done. Lost my virginity now. Had plenty of non-kosher food. Saw the joy and probably had sex with 2 women. Saw the joy in bacon. And then just like, what's this world? And now it's like I'm brand new born.
Could you have started that sentence, or could you have ended that sentence a little early just by saying "saw the joy"? Period. Just joy, like what? I don't imagine the life that you were living before that probably had so much discipline in it, suffering, repression in it. I don't know how much joy there was.
There was tons of joy. No, I saw the joy in it. In addition to what I had before, there's joy in another thing too. So it was like I never considered what the outside world was like. Like, why go there? But then I was like, oh, it's actually really cool out here. I was scared of it at first. People like, you, Christians, ugh, what? What are they going to do? They're going to steal your soul. But yeah, then I was like, this is so fun. Flipping on and off lights on the Sabbath. I'm just like, oh, I can do anything.
So you were
But
always
upset.
joyful though, because
Yeah.
I just I think of the regimen of it as being
Yeah, but it was a standard. I mean, if you've never had any schooling and you have to hear about somebody who's in high school, they're like, what do you mean they force you to sit in a chair for 45 minutes? Like, no, 6 different times. And you're like, that's crazy. Didn't you hate it? And you're like, it's just a standard. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Well, I never thought of hating school because you didn't really have a choice.
Right. You didn't have exactly. It was just what you do. But then getting out summer breaks, we're like, well, there's more. The last part's not a best metaphor. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then I was like, now I'm out. I'm on my own, but I don't want to go into, I'm still a boy. I didn't want to do the life. So I'm like, let me take a chance. But I was still dealing with like coming out of the religion, probably for 5 years after.
What does that mean?
Still shaking it. Still like shaking that stuff off me. Like, let me think. Like, so I just got back from trial. I went through South America for like 8 months with a backpack. I just got back a few months ago. But like my friend came, I was in Austin. He came to go on a hike and I was brushing my teeth and I just came out laughing. And he's like, what? I'm like, I'd still like doing with the tap water to me is still like, what am I doing? Just brushing my teeth with tap water, you know? So I still had that for like religion. We're like, oh my God, you know, like, I can't believe I'm doing, we drank till 3 a.m. That was crazy.
Does it, is there any comp, and I'm sure you cover some of this in the special, but are you talking about for 4 or 5 years shaking off the cobwebs of what would be the equivalent of brainwashing?
I get why you're going to these places. It wasn't that. It was just religion.
The reason I'm doing it is just seminary work in general. I'm not even making it orthodox. Too.
Right.
I'm just anyone studying for priesthood, for monk, to any kind of religion. It's not specific.
Yeah.
I just think of it as being really disciplined and having so many rules that wouldn't fit with someone like you.
Right. That's why I push back so hard, I guess, where I'm like, I'm free and I love freedom so much. Like, so much. I'm a freedom guy where I'm like, don't hold me back. Don't tell me what to do. I hate it more than most people I know.
Same.
Yeah. And then when you have it, some real freedom, like to like be able to do whatever today, even on one, you're like, this feels invigorating. But it wasn't brainwashing. It has negative connotations.
It does, but so too does being ardently religious and then being atheist. Like the swing there is.
So if I would like read a new portion from the Talmud or something like that and figure something out, like get to like the heart of an argument that the old like leaders would have, and you like figure something. It was like, oh my God, I figured something. It was like the same kind of joy, just transferred. The
reason you're right that brainwashing has a negative connotation, but the reason that I'm talking to you about it in the space of freedom is because you've gone from being devoutly religious
and unfree
to not believing in God at all. And so your life view or whatever it is you were thinking at one time is totally the opposite of how you were living.
Yeah. Yeah. If I went from now to there, they'd have to brainwash me to give up everything. To say on Friday night, you got to stop. You can't start again until Saturday night. I'd be like, no way. You're not allowed to tell me that. They would have to brainwash me to get me back there. But it's just part of the growth process of a person, I guess, to see what you can do. You know, all the people that like, you know, left, like Che Guevara, he was supposed to be a doctor. And then he was like, I don't want that. And he'd have to like tell his dad, I'm not going to be a doctor anymore. I'm going to go get murdered by the U.S. military in Bolivia. Yeah. I just don't look at it like that. Like it was repressive. It just wasn't.
It was your normal.
Yeah, it was my normal. I heard a Coolio interview on Jon Stewart used to have an old show on UPN before The Daily Show, and he was on there, and Jon Stewart made a self-deprecating joke about how Coolio had to deal with drive-bys at school, and Jon Stewart was like, I just had to deal with like the bully taking my lunch money. But then Coolio was like, no, but dude, in a child's mind, that me avoiding the drive-by and you avoiding the bully for your lunch money had the same place in our heads, had the same like weight to each of us. Obviously, the drive-by is worse, but we were both our level of fear was the same, and I think it's like that with you don't know what you're missing, so it's like the good and the bad is just different.
What was the first questioning like for you when you're like, I'm doing the wrong thing, I don't believe in God? How does that sneak up on you?
I looked inward for the first time. I was just doing it because you're supposed to do it. Che's probably a good example. Like he probably looked inward and was like, oh, there's suffering here, and why are we allowing indigenous people to not have full rights? But you have to like see it. Like clear, and I kind of looked in and I was like, there was just nothing there. I was just doing it because you're supposed to do it, and I'd get joy out of praying at the Western Wall on a full moon or something, or new moon. But like, I just wasn't. I was doing it because I guess it was getting me like attaboys from my rabbis. I never, if I could do well at math, but like, why are you taking math? And I'm like, I don't know. I actually don't want to, and won't ever use it. Maybe I should stop doing math.
Well, that's the reason I chose writing. Just some people told me I was good at something.
Right. And so you drop the other shit, and you're like, you didn't like the other stuff? I'm like, I guess I didn't. I never thought about it. I just had to do it. So I looked inwards. There was nothing there. And then I'm like, well, don't make any rash decisions. Because once you're out, it's going to be tough to get back in.
And you've invested a lot at this point, right?
Yeah. And I'd alienate my parents and my friends. I had to literally switch colleges because it was a religious college. So it was like I couldn't be there and not. In that last semester, I would lock myself in my dorm room on Friday night because if they knew I was there, they'd make me go to services. They'd be like, they'd have questions. And so I'd lock myself in my dorm room. I'd watch Star Trek Next Generation on a 1 volume on a TV VCR, like right up next to it, and then I'd piss in a thermos and put it in the mini fridge because if I left, they would know I was there. And then on Saturday night, I'd be like, just got back, and I'd empty my piss stuff without them knowing.
So you're legitimately hiding.
Hiding, yeah.
And feeling good, rebellious, dangerous while you're watching Star Trek?
Good question. Not rebellious, just bored. And so I already don't believe in this, so there's no reason not to use electricity on the Sabbath anymore. Oh yeah, you can't use electricity on the Sabbath, so TV was out. It's pretty wild. That's what the special is mostly about. What the religion is, what my version of the religion is.
But you're even as I'm sitting here not having lived it and saying, well, it seems like there's rigid and suffering, and you're like, not the way I looked at it. It was so normal to you.
So normal. But it wasn't like, okay, so you probably were near-ish the same age, I don't know, but like, you're probably younger than me, but like...
I'm 57.
Nice, bro. You look great. Getting laid keeps you young. All respect to your wife. But you're doing a great job. Look at him. So you would watch Dukes of Hazzard on Saturdays, I think, or Friday nights.
There were a lot of people in America watching Dukes of Hazzard on Friday nights. But yes, I just told this story the other day, and the young people around me were laughing. And I'm like, you don't understand that like 1 in 4 people in the United States were watching Dukes of Hazzard at that time on Friday night. That was an unbelievable magic box, produced things that the General Lee was not. I wasn't thinking about the civil rights movement.
No,
I was just
right,
thinking
not at
about
all.
Daisy
Cool
Dukes.
cross, yeah.
And everybody was watching that.
It's crazy. She would stop people just by being hot in the road. Like, what a ridiculous like setup. Oh, I'll stop the bad guys by just going, I have a flat tire. And you're like, yeah. She would always flirt with the same cop. The same cop would be like, at some point, like, bitch, get away. You keep getting me in trouble. You've never put out once. That, and then like Saturday mornings was wrestling. Once a month, WWF, always WWF, fuck the E, would be on Saturday nights. That was the only time I could watch it. But I didn't know I was missing that. So instead of watching wrestling, I'd go hang out with my friends. We'd play basketball, or we'd play catch, we'd play baseball or something, or tag football. It was just a different thing. We had fun, just we did it differently. You know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might like skydiving, but you're like, it's not here right now, so let's go get a drink, you know? So yeah, I can recognize it looks more oppressive than it was. I don't know how else to say it.
And so how do you go to Virginia? How do you make the transition from all of that to choosing this as a career?
Well, so a lot of it was getting associated with pieces of shit, degenerates. You know, even when I got to New York, it was Sam and Mark, Mackey, Hanley, Attell, and just boozers. Late night at the Cellar. And I was like, oh, I was never a boozer. I was broke in L.A. I just started coming into some money, but I didn't really, it wasn't part of me like, you can go out and drink. And they would just start with Bullet Rye and the Rocks. And I was like, okay. And then it was like, they taught me how to be a cool, like, comic in New York. Start with that and then go out from there. I mean, List was already sober, and Attell wasn't sober yet. So we got after it. Big J was there too, and Metzger. But it was like a cool crew. Michelle Wolf, she would throw them down. And then we'd all get into fights and arguments. It was just so fun. But like, I didn't know that was possible because LA would end earlier because we didn't have subway here. So we had more like stay where you are.
When did you realize it could be a career?
Probably like 7 or 8 years in, I booked a commercial, a Kia commercial, which like I was doing temp work. It was an obsession first. First, it was just like, I just want to try it once. But I was like, I'll say I'll be a writer because I took writing classes at Maryland. So I'm like, I could at least tell people I want to be a writer. I'm trained, you know, not great, but a little bit. I couldn't tell them I want to be a comic. They're like, it is that, like, who gave you permission to do that? You're not allowed, no. No one normal does that. No one we've ever heard of has done that. So I kept it to myself, but that's why I immediately liked that more. So the writing just kind of faded. No offense. And
it's faded for me too. It's faded. I'm doing this nonsense. All the cotton candy now. It's been a long time. Other than notes to my wife, I'm not doing very much writing anymore.
I actually applied to be a sports writer for like local newspapers, like the local that comes free on your stoop. Oh. Yeah, I was like, can I please write columns for you about local sports? And they were like, no.
So you wanted, it sounds like you wanted to be a sports something
I'm jealous
or
of you,
another.
Dan. Oh, yeah. You are, where, if I could do it over again, I'd be you. Yeah, I'd be living in South Beach.
I didn't realize, though, that your sports inclinations were so strong that to laugh at sports would be even more magical, perhaps, than what you're presently doing. If you could be like a comic in this space, especially because it's less competitive where the funny is. Like there just aren't a lot of funny people in sports. It's weird to me, honestly. It's weird. Honestly weird to me.
You have fucking whatever his name is that's now on ESPN that always has... Dude, I'm so bad with names.
Are we talking about McAfee? Or?
Yeah, McAfee. Yeah. He's funny, but he's not as funny as a comic. He's still funny for sports.
There's no one in sports as funny as a comic.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised there are not more comics working in sports because it's really cheap programming to make sports programming. And I'm surprised the funny people haven't come over here and realized that there is a market inefficiency that they can exploit.
Oh, to take callers and call them idiots and stuff like that. That would be so fun.
So here's the thing, right? Back when I used to be a writer, I get to 30 years old, okay, and I'm writing some things now that I've done before, and it's feeling a little repetitive because I've been doing it for 10 years. And I'm like, how do I change my career? What can I do that is within this realm but not? And I'm listening to sports radio, and I'm like, these people are outsourcing their creative playgrounds to bill on a mobile. Like, they're not even doing it themselves. They're just calling. They're taking a call and allowing the caller to make the content for them by saying, I think this Mets pitcher stinks or whatever. And I'm like, well, I can do better than that. I can climb over that bar.
Yeah, right. It really is. You're just like asking them to fill your time for you.
To do your job
Good
for
point.
you.
Good point, John from Monaki.
Imagine
Yeah,
being on the stage at the Comedy Store and saying, "Here,
Who's got a bit? It's like, that was a good one. Who else? Who else has a good point? That was I like the way you did that. That was awesome. Anyway, I almost have a joke they want to say.
Yes.
You're right. What a loser. You should go fire back at those people, call them morons, or say like, they know so much more than you do. Just have some fun. Yeah, what a weird thing. I have a travel podcast, You Be Trippin', and my travel friend Rolf Potts, he's a writer, like a respected writer, and he goes, please start doing something. There's no humor in this field. It's all just, I was arrested in a Russian prison, or it was the most enlightening moment. We need some degenerates. Sports could use some too.
Yeah, I was going to ask you whether the trip you just came back from was part of your travel podcast.
I'll talk about it on there, but it was really just kind of obsessed with going places. But dude, sports and travel together. Went to a Oaxaca Guerreros baseball playoff game. I was missing the Yankees, and I was out there, and I was like, oh, Oaxaca, I'm about to get to there. They have baseball, Major Liga de Mexicano Baseball, or whatever it is, LMB, I think. And I was like, oh, the season just ended. And then I'm like, they're a 2 seed. So I just went to every playoff game. They became my team.
You just got a quick fix and quick international baseball fix intravenously.
Everybody took me in. The concessions are wild. There's no hot dogs. It's like 12-year-olds selling beers out of their hands to people. Yeah. Burrito plates just coming by. There's not even a place to go for concessions. They come to you. When you hit a home run there, they put a giant Ganesh elephant head on you, and then they knight you with a sword or a baseball bat. I couldn't see from that far. It was so fucking fun. Went to some soccer games, went to some rivalry games.
You thought this was your run club era. Turns out, it was more of a thinking about run club era. The good news? Someone's marathon training is about to start. Sell your workout gear on Depop. Just snap a few photos, and we'll take care of the rest. They get their race day fit, and you get a payout for trying. Someone on Depop wants what you've got. Start selling now. Depop, where taste recognizes taste.
Why the need to travel? What is it about seeing the world?
It's two parts. The part of it's the freedom, is getting away from the responsibilities of, even though I'm a comic, it's still like shit pulling at me. Special. I just did this TV show called The End. It's a storytelling show. You can get on arishafir.com right now. Mark Norman's in there. I think you know him.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Shane Gillis, people like that. But it was like, oh, you got to edit it and do stuff and return emails about it and do this, the sound and the color correction.
Well, it's called The End. It's part of the YMH family. And it seems to me, from what I can tell, 15 years of punctuation on what you've been doing since 2010 in terms of giving comics the space to tell stories, right? It's a 15-year show. It's had different names, right?
Different names.
But this is I don't know whether you called it The End because this is the punctuation on those 15 years.
Play on a title of storytelling, The End and the end of this. So there's a lot of responsibility to it. But I mean, it's stuff I want to do. I want to give these opportunities to these comics to be seen, and let them tell their cool stories in a space that allows it. All we had before was late night stuff, and it's 5 minutes. They go over your jokes. They go, take this one out, take that one out. And I was like, that's not really what we do. So I was able to start a show where I'm like, and they're like, how long should I do? I'm like, between 5 and 15. Or if it's longer, go longer. If you got a story that lasts 25, then do that.
You're basically doing what the internet did to newspapers.
Exactly.
Where you're saying, here, there's no space limit. Go
Why
ahead.
did you fit this into the Washington Post in this space? Just whatever, man. If it requires investigative journalism and it's a 10-page thing, then, do that. And if it's just like a if there's a 1-minute story, that's fine too. Don't milk it for no reason. Yeah, I set these comics for him. People responded to it, the realness of it.
But is this what you're proudest of? If you look at the thing that gives you the most fulfillment as an achievement.
Yeah. I'd say it's those two things we talked about, to be honest. I think I've hit it. I'm sure you've got these. I haven't read I really haven't read any of your stuff. I've seen you from TV mostly, but I haven't read any columns.
It's before your time. I was doing most of my writing 20 years ago.
Okay.
You would have no reason to be reading any of it.
Or any way to read it, right? Like, how would I even get
well, you
on
would have
the
been
South
reading
Beach?
it in ESPN the magazine. I bet you have read some of the things without
you're right. Yeah,
knowing that I
maybe.
had written them.
But you must get, which one's a better piece of yours and which one's worse, right? It's not to say anything's bad, but like you could tell when like, if you had to rank them all, you could. And there's probably a couple where you're like, I hit that one out of the park. I'm really proud of that one. Puring it, hitting a driver, 310 right to the front of the green. It's like pure, and you want to look around. It's like, anybody see that? So he does like, nice shot. Like, thank you.
That's where people get addicted to golf. The one time you hit that shot.
Where you can hit a 23-foot rolling like putt, and no one in the world could do better than you. Yeah, they could equal you, but no one could do better.
That's correct.
Yeah, it's sick. So there's a couple things where I've pured, in a 20-something year career. It's that Special Jew and that storytelling show.
Oh, wow. What a great feeling to have your last special be the one that feels like that. That's, I mean, that is...
Yeah, well, it was 2 ago. This one actually, I did it on YouTube, and then Netflix was like, can we put it on? With everything I think going on, they're like, let's put that on our platform. But yeah, I really feel like I was like, all right, I can kind of hang my hat on that. A lot more work went into those, and so everything else could be good, but one of those that are like lifers. You don't get many.
What is it about Jew that you like so much? Because from the way you've just described it here, it sounds like the most adult version of you who has grown into doing all the work on himself that can now look back on his life and find the funny without the hate, which is like, to do it without resentment is a gift, like it's a healing property for you to be able to have that as your art, where you look back on your life and you're like, oh, I made it funny. I was able to make something that could have been darker funny.
Yeah. So it was a 2-part thing. It was I went to the Edinburgh Comedy Festival. It's the biggest comedy fringe festival in the world. And it's 1,500 comics, each performing an hour every night, all over the city. The city doubles in size for the month of August. And I went once. I brought my storytelling show there once. But then I started looking at all these other comics doing these like hour-long theme hours. It's like it's about one thing. It was either a plot or all on one subject. One guy, Finn Taylor, did one about the Me Too movement called When Heresy Met Sally. That was just like so good. Covers, like South Park, covered every part of it in an hour. I'm like, God damn. So there's some people were bad, but some people were doing really interesting stuff. And I was like, I want to do something like that. But their problem was that they got serious for like 15 fucking minutes in the middle when they lost their dad's respect, or, it was, and they had that line that the Moth always has, like, that's not just when I lost my watch. It's when I lost my innocence. And you're like, dude, fuck off. Be a comic. So I was like, I want to spite them. And they all thought they were better than American comics, which is ridiculous. What are you talking about? We're clearly the best ones. But they had us beat on these theme hours. That's the only thing they got us beat on. And they would look down on us for that. And I'm like, if you're going to attack on one point, it's like if a fighter, it's like, well, you can beat me standing up, so I'll take you down. Or, if like I can't, post up against you guys because you got 3 centers, like, well, let me start drafting some Steph Curry types. And that's the only way I can beat you.
I love that you're trying to speak my language. You didn't. You went fighting it. That didn't work. So you went basketball so that I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you can't do what it takes here, I'll hurt you. If you can't do what it takes to actually win a title, go fucking pay some other guy to come join your team when he didn't deserve to be. 2 other guys. Excuse me. No offense, Chris Bosh. Didn't mean to fucking ignore you on that one. Cheap fucking title. Ruin the game, the fucking super team.
That's my team. That's
fuck you. Fuck what you did.
That's my city.
I know, and it sucked. It sucked for the rest of the country to just go, oh, let's pick up the best players.
Okay, so now you like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. You like what that is better?
I don't like that even. You guys started that shit. You play for the team you got drafted for. Wait, what were we talking about?
You got drafted by the Orthodox Jews. You needed to play for them.
That's a damn good point, Le Batard. You make a good fucking point. What were we saying? Damn, I got sidetracked. I got so worked up over this fucking LeBron's idiot announcement.
And then you were trying to speak my language on fighting analogies and basketball analogies in order to explain to me the right way to do things, the proper way to do things.
What was it? The proper way to do things.
It doesn't matter.
I was about to go somewhere. What were you asking?
I wanted to go back to how all of this went over in your family.
I know. Okay, hold on. So I wanted to spite these motherfuckers. So I wanted to do an hour that was like funny the whole way through and informational. And so one of the informational ones, but then also be personal. And every time I was writing it, I was like, where would these Edinburgh comics attack me? Where would they go? Sure, but. And there's one, they're like, there's nothing personal here. What about yours? This is about Judaism. What about you? You know? And it was like, oh, good point in my head, you know? So I'd like do that. How was it coming out of the religion? Was that, so I'd have to write stuff like that in. And then I just hear questions like, how come, what's the brown Jews and the white Jews? I'm like, good question. I'll cover that. What's code? You know, so
you're being inspired, whether it's South Park, I'm going to attack this from every angle with so much work that it's going to be unassailable, that when the work is done, there's not going to be anything missing from it, and I'm going to do it so thoroughly that you also can't say that you're better than American comics.
And then I had to do what I've never done, is do research. Because I can make fun of your shirt, you know, and I'm not wrong or right. It's an opinion. I can do whatever jokes I want. And if somebody's like, no, that's a Calvin Klein shirt. I'm like, well, I didn't like it. I'm allowed to say it. But this was like, I couldn't be wrong. I couldn't say something was it. So I went back to my seminary. I took a trip to Israel, went back and I studied with my old rabbi, a piece on Noah and the flood. So I could like get the right stuff in there.
You wanted it to be unassailable.
Yeah. And then every once in a while you'll have in New York, I call them frontier Jews. They're like Orthodox or Hasidic Jews that'll come out to comedy shows because you're not technically not allowed. It just seems like untoward for that life. But you're allowed to be like, no, they can say those words. I'm not gonna. And I'd see them and I didn't want to offend them. So if I was doing a joke about like Orthodox Jewish women and their wigs, I'd keep like an eye on them to make sure they're having a good time. So it's not attacky. Same thing we do with black people in the audience. If you're doing something about black people, you always have like an eye to. If there's one black couple, like if they're not having a good time about it, then I got to switch up the writing.
It's funny that you should say some of this because the people that I admire most professionally, someone like, for example, Mike Schur, who does Parks and Rec and The Office and everything else, and then the pandemic strikes and he needs to put the creativity somewhere. So he ends up writing a book on the side about all of philosophy. All the philosophers that have ever existed. He's going to try and make it funny. He's tackling the hardest thing because it's the hardest thing. What you've just described is a much harder version of comedy, what you decided to challenge yourself with, which is I'm going to do this on this subject, a subject that's got a lot of history in it, and I'm going to make an hour that speaks to people.
But then also funny, like New York club funny. You know, so it's going to be filthy, which is like that doesn't seem to go, you know, talking about like Adam and fucking chickens.
Well, and filthy, and I've got to go back to Israel in order to actually study to make this the right kind of filthy.
And then so I toured it everywhere I could, places where there are Jews, places where there's never been a single Jew. You know, Reykjavik, Perth, Australia, where they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So if the joke would work in New York or Chicago, people are like, no, I see them. So I kind of get what the Sabbath is, but they're like, I don't know any of this. So I had to make it work for them too. And I had in Denmark, some rabbi showed up with some of his adult students, and he was like, that was funny, but just so you know, like, you got a fact wrong. And I was like, no, really? He goes, no, I mean, do whatever you want. I'm like, no, I actually need to hear this. I had a big joke about I thought Noah's wife had 40 children. I don't know where I got that in my head. And I had this long, crushing bit about how gaping her pussy must be at this point. Sorry, Dan, go with me. And I mean, at 36 kids, can you even carry a baby to term?
But you got a fact
or
wrong.
does it come out? Yeah, and then I had to lose the whole thing. It was such destruction, but I had to drop it. It was so painful.
A bit that was how long and took you how long to form that was undone by a fact that you can't get wrong.
Yeah, probably 2 full years of writing it, and it was 7-minute bit of just boom, boom, boom laughs. It was like my closer, and then it was like,
oh no,
yeah. Then it was like, fuck, back to the writing.
What a horrible thing to learn. Like you're not going to have a lot that feels worse in your stomach than that.
I was like, no. And I went back to the text, and I'm like, wait. wait, I know this from somewhere. And then,
That's worse than like writing something and then just losing it. Have your computer eat it.
right.
Like that's what you're just describing is the worst.
Because I still had it, so I could do it. It's like quitting smoking, and then you're like finding a cigarette.
But you can't do it if the fact is wrong, right? Because
wrong.
because the subject matter you're choosing has to be unassailable. You have to have your facts right on what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, it was
because comedy, you can make up anything. Any of the stories that you've been telling on your platform for 15 years, half of them are made up.
Those are real. Those are real, but there's details that aren't. I showed up late, and Dan looked at me like I was Clint Eastwood coming into a bar. That's a joke. It's not true or not true, you know. So that part's the flourishing, but they're supposed to be real stories. They're supposed to be.
But they don't have. But a lot of comedy doesn't have to be.
Right.
Like we have to believe that you're.
Yeah.
That you're credible, but you're watching a lot of comedy that is not real. That is not that the people are telling stories that aren't in any way true.
If anybody ever did this, I would take him and bash their head. Like, no, you wouldn't. You would be cowardly and walk away. But it's a funnier bit to say what you would do.
So what happened with your family? If you're done with this portion of the story, you don't have to be done with this portion of the story if you haven't gotten to your climax.
They like that. I mean, when I had a talk with them about, and this is covered in the special, I had to tell them. So it felt kind of like coming out of the closet. I don't know. There's no societal problems. But in my little society, it was similar. It was like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? And risk like never talking to them again. And I really like my family. So I didn't want that. Dad was very mad. It's all fine now. So it's tough to even call up the pain of that, of those moments of like just becoming an adult, 20, 21. So with our upbringing, we're children, and having to be, I might be alone for the rest of my life now because I might have lost all connection. There was a lot of that when I got away from my community. Like I didn't realize how tight knit it was. It was like, I don't have anyone. I don't have any support group.
There was no one supporting you on this.
Right. Emotionally, there wasn't. So I didn't know who to go to for anything. It's like when you break up with your chick, the one person you go to an event would be your chick.
Oh, but it's bigger. It's bigger than that, though.
So
you are denying a relationship with God.
Right.
Like you're,
and there's that too.
You're running the risk of becoming an outcast. Never mind support. Your dad's a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah, and so it was like, it's like what the, without saying it like that, what the fuck's wrong with you? You're like kind of a piece of shit. It's not the way he said it, but he did say like, even a dog believes in God, so you're lower than a dog. And I was like, I don't know, got to check your math on that, but like, I don't know who researched that. What are you talking about? There's been no studies on that. What?
I don't know any.
We're still putting fluoride in the water.
I don't know any deeply religious dogs.
Yeah, like what? How do you? Yeah, but again, he's totally cool. There was a time like 4 or 5 years later, we were skiing, and he goes, "You can get a cheeseburger if you want. Like, don't worry about it." But I'm like, I know I won't be disrespectful, but that meant a lot. To be like,
but what was that period like? What was that like? How much
really
pain
tough.
were you
it
in?
Was tough.
How alone were you?
It was tough. But then I switched to Maryland the next semester, so I had that whole semester. I had to tell them why I'm switching. They were paying for college, or paying for whatever the grants and the student loans, didn't pay for. And the summer jobs. God damn! Remember how much money it took just to go to a state college? You got out of there with so much debt. Anyway, I was pretty alone. But then found in a university, a big quad type university, very friendly people, like at every quad type university. And then it was like new friends, new
people,
attitudes.
different, much different from whatever it is, just freer.
Yeah. My GPA in high school was so bad that I had 1 year of yeshiva university, but it didn't count towards transfer. And I had 2 years off for seminary, which also didn't help my resume. So they waitlisted me to a state school, to a not even that great state school. And by the time I get in, all the dorms were full. So they said there's one dorm open. There's the international dorm, Dorchester. And if you write an essay about how you're linked to international, I lived in Israel for 2 years. I was like, okay. And I got in there. But then I met very interesting people. A Liberian refugee, Brazilian lady, my friend who's the son of the
so
old
you
president
start
of
seeing
Trinidad.
The world, basically.
Yeah. And then they kind of broadened my scope of just this insular community inside, Maryland to like, whoa, there's a ton out there.
So how long did you feel like you were alone or drifting or not supported?
Okay, so drifting because I needed to replace God with something. the worship and stuff, I didn't have a direction. So, okay, I don't believe in God. I'm okay with it. But where am I going in the world then? And then I got to LA. I found comedy. That's probably the closest where I'm like, I love this. That's all I want to do. I mean, it helped me get through it, like I said, getting laid for the first time. It's like, what? This is pretty cool, Yeah. I didn't know what a blowjob was until I did. And I'm like, where was this in my upbringing? You would not keep anyone in the Orthodox Judaism if we knew this was a possibility. I have a bit in there where I took my nephew for his bar mitzvah. You know those good seats you get sometimes from like an agent or something, where you're like, these aren't the seats I can afford. It's a hookup. So I called in a favor, got one of those, and he's like, what? We're sitting a row behind the Rangers, like behind the bench, and he's just like blowing his mind. And then I got a bacon cheeseburger, and he's like, what? And I was like, yeah. He's like, is it good? I'm like, bro, yes. And he's like, can I? I'm like, no, told your mom you'd be good. No, you cannot have any. You get French fries if you want.
And so what do you end up replacing God with? Comedy?
Yeah.
It
comedy,
becomes your religion.
Yeah, friendships, comedy. Yeah, but comedy. I just love doing it. I got obsessed with it. Even when I'm not doing, even when I'm going traveling, it's intentional to so I can come back to it with like a fresh mind. I love it. I just love it. And then the friendships around it too are like, we used to go for 15 minutes a night and then hang out for 6 hours.
I would assume many of my friends are work-related friends because it's a shortcut to friendship when you have all of these commonalities. Where you,
same with your dating life.
Just so many of these people though know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
They have a fluency in what it is that you love
Yeah.
that the average person does not.
Yeah, I could actually only really ever dated artists because even if you're not a comedian, and I've dated one or two comics too, but just someone in the arts almost always, because like you got to understand. Not you gotta, but like they get it. They get like, hey, I'm going through a process of building something right now.
Well, it's too much a part of you for it not to be understood, right? It matters too much to you. It's too much a part of your identity to be with somebody who doesn't have any connection to it.
And it's not even like, so I can't do this. I just wouldn't connect with them, And then I connect with their process too. They're like, yeah, I'm trying to paint this thing now. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Like, and I'm like, oh, it's just like, it's invigorating. And you just understand the language a little bit.
So when did the support
Musicians.
come back around?
So when I moved to California, I graduated Maryland. My friend was like, do you want to go to California? He wanted to be a screenwriter. He had already left Maryland, gone down to Miami because his mom moved there with some dude. And then we we met up in like Tennessee driving. We just drove out cross country. He quit pretty early, became a lawyer, but they paid for, they were like, at that point, it was already 3 years of Maryland, University of Maryland, and they were okay with it. And then my dad understood it completely because he left first an upbringing in, work camps, internment camps, but then, once he got normal, grew up in Israel. You're supposed to stay there. You go through the army, and you're supposed to have a life in Israel. And he goes, I think I can go to America. Took a boat. That's how long ago it was, So he understood the spread your wings and fly kind of idea. And
Eventually.
I
mean, at first you were dirtier than a dog, right?
First I was dirtier than a dog. He got over it. It took a couple of years. But also I think, so we had another distant relative, like a cousin's wife's kid or something like that, and he married a non-Jew. And that was like a real big no-no. And the dad was like, I'm not going to go to your wedding. I don't, whatever. And then the next kid, the younger brother, also married a non-Jew. And I think he had to go like, Dad, you don't talk to your son anymore because you handled this so badly. Like, don't fuck this up. And he was like, yeah, I don't want to lose my kid. And so my dad saw that. He was like, well, I don't want that. He was smart enough to go, that's not what I'm looking for. I wanted you to be religious. You're not. So I can either be spiteful and kind of lose my son, or I can be like, this is the way it is. So like, all right, you got to roll with the punches. There's no better rolling with the punches than they stole our farm, put my dad off to a gas chamber that got, liberated a week before he was done, to like, yeah, you got to roll with it. So like, I don't know, let's go to Israel. I heard they're starting that up.
I mean, you must have felt loved
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, that acceptance, it was huge. Yeah.
I mean, many dads do that, right? Or many people are ardent enough about their relationship with God to forsake their son.
Yeah, Mormons, you're strict, you're like sent out. They have a process, I think, of like, it's not just like, we don't talk to him. It's like, no, we're not allowed to talk to him. That would be wild. But yeah, it was great. And then now I'm moving to, I wanted to drop out to become a writer. And he goes, tell you what, if that's a mistake. Obviously, he was right. Not obviously. I guess I don't really need my diploma, but I did need my education. He goes, finish the next year and a half, and I'll help support you for your first year. You know, I'll pay for your gas and your insurance. So he did.
And you were still broke.
Still broke. It wasn't enough. I just wouldn't have gotten insurance. You know, I wouldn't like. That's why they did it too. They're like, we know you're not going to get insurance, so we'll pay for it. Yeah, but he was like, once I was like, I'm going to go to. Now he accepted me, but now I'm doing an even more alternative thing in a different way, where I'm going to California to be a clown.
What you're also doing psychedelics now, or you're
No,
not yet? Not yet. You haven't gotten into the psychedelics yet. So you're rambunctiously free in a way that has to be dangerous comparative to how you were living.
Yeah, no job. I had to explain to my mom how I was living, money wise. How I figured out my budget for food. It was $3.10 a day, and that wasn't my budget. That's just, I spent as little as possible, and then did the math after a month, and it broke down to $3. And she goes, "You can't live on that." I'm like, "I have been." I just find sales. McDonald's had 29-cent hamburger days. Killed it that day. Froze some. Can you imagine freezing a fucking McDonald's hamburger so you could eat it for the rest of the week? But we didn't think twice about it. It was just the way. Every once in a while, some rich guy would drum up a beer for you, and you're like, "Fuck!"
But it's because you knew exactly what your dreams were looking like at that point. Like
Everything else didn't matter.
you were not unclear in any way about what you wanted, so you chased it with the same sort of fervor that you
the same
were.
zeal. You're right. Good point. Where it's like I'm all in. I'm not half-assing it.
Yeah, but I also think you're taking from me some sort of judgment. As soon as you said seminary, I'm like, oh my God, devoting your life to the rules and rigidities of what that is the most devout of religious people there. That is the most aggressively religious as you can be.
Yeah. No,
and so you just poured that into writing and comedy and chasing something else that is...
There's this comic, Argus Hamilton, at the Comedy Store, and I asked him about, I forget what, smoking or something like that. And he quit smoking, and I was like, how? And he goes, I got into running, and I couldn't do both. And I just liked running more. But I had to do one because I was a cokehead, so I had to do one of those two. Same thing. It happens
a lot with obsession. Like yoga teachers and stuff where they go from addiction to addiction. I'm going to be, just a healthier addiction.
Right. But then it's like all the time, chill, dude. Golf. I could see that being an addiction, you know.
No, I've said that before. Yeah. The reason I've never done cocaine is because I know myself. I can be compulsive. So I just better not do something that's going to ravage the insides of my life.
Yeah. And so
if it feels too good.
It feels good. Guys like Norman can't not do a spot. He's more of an addict than I am even. He goes up as much as he can no matter, and he doesn't even question it. He'll be on an anniversary date with his wife, and he'd go to the bathroom and then run next door to open mic, do 5, and come back like, oh sorry, I had to take poop.
So it's also an addiction, right? Like, and what is it? It's not validation. It's not necessarily laughter. It's doing your job well. What is it? What's being chased in the addiction?
It's totally validation, and it's chasing the validation. So even if it's not good, it's still the hunt for it, which is crazy because comics get nothing but anti-validation for about 3 years to start because we suck. We all suck. And so we're chasing validation. We get it once every 20 times, and then 19 times it's telling you, you should quit this. You're actually not good at it. And it's painful. I don't know why we kept doing it because it was such a good high for that one pure driver a day. It's such a good high.
We're out of time, I think, because we've been going a little longer in my head
whatever
than we
you
were
want.
supposed to.
I'm fine with whatever you want.
AriShaffir.com is where you go if you want tour dates. I have more questions. I do have more questions. Jew is the name of the Netflix special. Is there anything else? You Be Trippin'.
You Be Trippin' is my travel podcast.
The travel show.
Yeah, and The End is my storytelling show, and which is that culmination of all that. Yeah, and watch the Netflix show and Legion of Skanks every Monday, but I don't think I have to go anywhere. Was there one more that you wanted to actually know about?
Oh no, I wanted to go down the path of psychedelics with you because I wanted to know where it is that you've had the brain altering stuff, what it is that you've been working on, and where it is that it's opened you.
Yeah, mushrooms got me first to the place of like it's so cool. It drops your ego to the ground, so then you can observe yourself as someone else would observe you. But you know yourself more than anyone, so you can observe all the details of yourself without trying to defend a stance. So you're like, oh, look at that guy. He should have walked his dog and put away his phone while he did it and spent time with his dog. Oh, that guy's me. Oh, shit. I better start walking my dog and enjoying my time.
So you do it without judgment?
Yeah, without judgment. Or I'm doing this wrong, or I'm doing this right, or I should call my dad more, let him know that, I love him. Things like that, like you just see it, and then like had a ton of those experiences. Loved them more and more every time.
You're talking about clarity, is what you're seeing, right?
100%. I call it the capital T truth, where it's just this is, it just is, and it's fine, and it's kind of.
But you
beautiful.
don't have access to it without the
I
help.
heard some people go, you can do meditation. They compared it to this lady I met in Ecuador. It was like, okay, so it's like the doorbell rings. And you can go up and get it yourself and say hi to whoever that is, or you can get a butler to go do it for you, and he'll open the door. And meditation is you getting it yourself. And mushrooms is like a cheat code. It's a butler. And I was like, I'd rather have a butler, though. What are you talking about? I'm watching TV and I can get an employee to go do it? That's clearly better. Why would I work hard to get to the same place when I can just take a couple fucking disgusting tasting fungus? And then ayahuasca was the one where I just destroyed me completely.
I've been wanting to do that, but I'm too scared of the sickness in it.
Yeah, I was too.
And because you're purging, right?
Yeah.
You're physically purging.
The biggest fear for me was projectile diarrhea. That's what I was most afraid of.
Those are two bad words together.
Yeah, projectile alone is not bad. Diarrhea is bad,
Both
but
of
not
them are
so
bad independently. Together, those two words are really bad.
Exponential.
It is. I can't think of a lot of words I could put in front of diarrhea to make it worse than projectile.
Not nearly as bad as projectile.
Explosive is bad, but projectile, you're launching it across a room. Like projectile is bad.
Yeah, but it didn't happen. I did barf a lot. But that's totally normal. But it's sometimes I've seen people barf on mushrooms, and it's like, and then barfing is like, it's crazy.
Well, but I would imagine ayahuasca had some of the same principles for you that religion did early on. Whenever it is that you felt most connected to egoless godliness.
Yeah, it was that clarity from mushrooms, that truth, but like I don't know how to say it, deeper, and it was just like someone's taking a scrub brush to your soul and just cleaning you out. And then the next 4 days just writing in a journal all the thoughts I had before they would go away, and just feeling this like level of clean that I really am not good at expressing it.
No, you did pretty well there. You just did, you did pretty well right there in the way that if you're talking about scrubbing a cleansing of your soul, like that's pretty good.
Yeah, I guess so.
Not a lot of things that feel like that.
Yeah. And just feeling fine. And then I was left with, it wasn't like realizations you have to afterward. It was just a change. So there's all these comedy fights. I don't know if Sam will ever tell you about it gossip-wise. I'm not going to get into any of them. But like we're bitter people.
Yeah.
We feud. And we're like, fuck that guy. Somebody fucked the wrong guy's lady, or somebody did a premise similar to yours, or what, it bumped you one night and you never forgave him. And we'd all be fighty. We'd be very fighty. I've seen Sam go hard on people. It's fun to watch. I have no appetite for it anymore. Yeah, people come at me. I'm just like, yeah, let's work it out. It's not even a decision. I'm just not hungry for that. It just changed immediately. I just want to make things. So this is getting in the way. So then I came home from that, recorded Jew, got it back again, recorded Jew, started like working on it, and then had some time during COVID to think about well, that was that, and then started working on the end on the show and finishing that off right. But it was just like, I just want to get things done now. It brings me joy. So yeah, you should do it. Listen, if you do projectile diarrhea or vomit on yourself, you'll clean it up. I mean, bring a change of underwear to wherever you're going.
Okay. Thank you for the advice, and thank you for the time. Bring a change of underwear.
Dude, that's such a... Okay, wear something nice, black tie optional. Bring a change of underwear to any event. Go, I'm not coming.
Thank you, sir.
Some follow the noise. Bloomberg follows the money. Because behind every headline is a bottom line. Whether it's the funds fueling AI or crypto's trillion-dollar swings, there's a money side to every story. And when you see the money side, you understand what others miss. Get the money side of the story. Subscribe now at Bloomberg.com.